Welcome to Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973, an inspirational podcast about the ups and downs of life and everything in between. Here's your host, Shane Lakita.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Coffee Talk with Liquidshano. Listen, I'm going to make this introduction really short and sweet today, only because I think it's a really special guest that I brought on board here to be able to talk about some charitable stuff that they're doing, some volunteering that they've done to help families throughout the holiday season. And I promised you guys that I would bring on some folks that inspire me. And this is a woman that inspires me in a way that she gives back and wants to do something good for others during a time where it didn't feel like it was all that good to be able to do so. So listen to the interview, guys. Her name is Danielle, Claudio. If you guys are interested in going on and supporting the organization that she is a part of, you can go to Spreadthecheerusa.org to check her out, to be able to see exactly what they're working on, what the different award ceremonies that they're doing, along with all of the volunteering. And you can also volunteer in your state and then also make some recommendations with some people during this Easter time frame to be able to find a family that's in need that they may be able to help out with this whole situation. So enjoy the interview, guys. I enjoyed doing it. Much love to you all, and we'll talk soon. Thanks. Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973. You guys know me. I'm here on a podcast just talking to you guys about life in general and people that inspire me and people that really kind of move me forward. I know I promised you all that I was going to be able to do more interviews and more ways to be able to reach out to other individuals that spread cheer and spread love and spread kindness and all kinds of great stuff. So I have another guest here tonight with me. Her name is Danielle Claudio. I met her on TikTok, actually, and we've all become kind of like this TikTok family and this really, really great community that we have a part of, which is probably my last 3 or 4 people that I've actually interviewed for the podcast here have been from TikTok, but all of them have layered in so many inspirational stories. So we're going to get to know Danielle, a little bit to know about some of the organizations that she's running and some things that she's really taken part in. And I know I promised you guys that I would bring some people that are really inspirational, but I guarantee you by the time we're done with this interview, you're going to be like, wow, she's a rock star. I guarantee you. So Danielle, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Good, Shane. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You know, I've been looking forward to actually connecting with you like this, to be able to sit down and just have a conversation, because you know, from afar, as I may be a content creator, but I'm also a content consumer, right? So I watch content and I see where you're at and how you are able to manage going live and doing all your things that you're doing through the different social media, platforms. And then also just to be able to know that you're doing such great things, across the board. And we'll get into a lot more of that. But first question I always ask a lot of my TikTok friends that I bring onto my podcast is, tell me a little bit more about your story around why you went to TikTok and how you started on TikTok, more so in general. Tell me a little bit about that.
This is always a fun question for me. And I think it's a similar answer to a lot of people, except for the real OGs who have, started when it was Musical.ly and all of that. But I started just about a little over a year and a half ago. I think it was about August or September of 2020. And just because I had gone through a divorce and I had my whole life changed. I had to move. It was a very difficult and kind of just dark time. And so I jumped on to TikTok. I don't even remember how honestly I came across it or why. But I downloaded the app. I didn't even make a video at first. I just kind of checked it out. I didn't understand it at all.
Me neither.
Yeah, not even a little bit. And then, I made my first video. It was like some sort of ridiculous dance video. And it didn't do it. I got maybe 300 views or something.
Right.
And, it was very sporadic at first until I made a video. It was, I think it was like a thirst trap.
Oh, you know how it goes. Here we go.
And it kind of took off and I gained, 1,000 followers from that. And then I had the ability to go live. I started accumulating a decent following and it just kind of took off from there,
Well, so I'm in the same boat. I started this whole journey. So mine was more so, okay, so I'll tell you the story. So a couple years ago, my sister came up to visit for the holidays. and she's over there buzzing around on her phone, like buried in her phone. And I'm like, what are you doing? Can't you have a conversation and have some eye contact with me, please? Like, seriously. So she's up. She's like, oh, I got this thing called TikTok and whatever else, I've been just watching it. And her original intention was because her daughter was a teenager. So she wanted to kind of get to know what her teenager was watching. Right. So next thing you know, my wife, she's sitting on the couch. She goes, let me try that. And next thing you know, our whole holiday is just consumed with me and my brother-in-law doing stuff and them two on their phones, like watching all these videos, right? And they're laughing and they're cracking up. So I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to download it. And all I did is I hopped on there more so to see what they were doing, but also for my son, right? He's 16. He's a teenager. I want to kind of see what they're looking at and stuff like that. And so next thing you know, I'm sitting there on this app and I knew that the goal was always to get to 1,000 so that way you can go live and you can interact with people. Well, I will tell you, so just from a bird's eye view, what I love about your content and what you do, Danielle, on that app is that I love your lives, to be honest with you, because it's so engaging. You're engaging with your lives, whether it's with the artwork that you may do or you're sitting, I think you call them floor talks, right? Where you're sitting down right on the floor and you're just kind of sitting Indian style and you're like, hey guys, let's play a game. Let's do it.
It's really just an excuse to be lazy and sit on the floor, but it kind of works.
I love it. Whatever works, right? If you got especially if you got a crew of people that are coming in there. So similar stories, right? It started off as something that's just kind of fun to do and get on there. But next thing you know, I'm finding that I'm reaching an audience of people that I never would have thought that I would have reached. I had my podcast. I had some other stuff. I was doing art a little bit on the side. But next thing you know, I had this group of people that I was like, man, these are some, I think of them like family, a lot of them, and we all just connected so well. Did you find the same thing? Did you find very similar things with the community that you're building and the people that you're connecting with?
Yeah, absolutely. I have people from, who are still with me, huge supporters of mine since day one. And they're not really, I hate the term followers or fans or anything like that, because like you said, it's authentically become like my friends, my family. I've hung out with these people in person now. We've flown to different places across the country, met together. So, a lot of the people, even the ones I haven't met have become, just quality people in my life, people I can go to for pretty much anything. And it's really amazing.
Now, I know that I know we're going to get really deep into the Spreadthecheerusa.org, and I really want to get into that because that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to bring you on the podcast anyways, because it's really just another way to be able to give back and really take care of people. But I noticed even on your board on the Spread the Cheer, some of them are TikTokers, right? Like some of them that are on there, are they all TikTokers or are they all of them, right?
All of them.
That's where you got your people.
Yeah, and all of them are on TikTok, and we'll get into that more. They're incredible. I couldn't do any of it without them. So, but yeah, it's pretty incredible.
I know. And you don't expect it until you can reflect and look back and go, wow, man, I never would have thought an app that was considered to be a kid's app that they can go on and dance and lip sync and whatever can create a community and connections and just people that you can meet, including you and me, right? I love the fact that we've been able to connect, and so it's pretty awesome. I love it. I never would have expected it, but it's pretty amazing. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. So tell me a little bit about Danielle here, right? So here we are, right? So we're going to start right off the bat here with Spread the Cheer, because I think that it's something that's really, really important that I'd love to get into. Tell me a little bit about where you came up with the concept or the idea of Spread the Cheer and why you did it. So tell me a little bit about that history of that.
Yeah. So it was just very random and organic, which I love. And it started, again, just because I was just going through such a rough spot. And so Christmas was approaching. I think it was like December 4th. And I had this idea as I was sitting in my living room alone. My kids were with their dad. And I was like, ugh, this is hard, Right. And I said, you know what? I'm going to turn this feeling that I have around, and I'm going to turn it into something positive. I'm going to distract myself, and I'm going to go do something good for someone else. And so I made a vow to myself that I was going to help 3 families in my local area, maybe just for Christmas. So make sure that their family, their kids, that they had Christmas gifts under the tree. And it was just something I came up with as I was sitting there in my living room by myself, staring at my Christmas tree, that I was going to do. Then I was like, you know what? I think at that point I had maybe just under 20,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know what, let me put this out. Let me put this idea out there and see if maybe anyone wants to help me, you know, bring in some extra money, and then maybe we can help more families. And so I just put out a video, you know, asking for some people. I messaged a couple of my, you know, my supporters, and I said, hey, do you know anyone who might want to help me, you know, promote this idea? And one of my friends on here, Brittany, she actually put me in contact with Chief Nitro.
Yep.
And I messaged Chief Nitro, not thinking that he would respond. I think he had like 100 and some thousand followers at that point. And I was like, he's not even going to talk to me, you know? But he did. He messaged me back and he said, I love that idea. And he made a video. He went on live that night. He started talking about it. I was talking about it. Somehow we got the attention of Scott D. Henry and a couple other larger creators. And what was interesting is that Scott was also doing a Be Better campaign for around the holidays. And he was looking to donate money to a good cause. So, you know, we talked about it for a solid 2 weeks. We raised, I think, around like $12,000 collectively. Wow. And we ended up helping 15 families across the country. And what we did that was different, and what I wanted to do is to make sure that the families knew that we were there for them. So instead of just, you know, fulfilling their Amazon wish list or, you know, mailing them stuff, we got some volunteers, and we, including myself and Chief Nitro, we flew. Like I flew to Arizona, I flew to California, I flew to Texas. Wow. I met with Perfectly Kelsey and Positively Paige, who had also helped. And we surprised these families in person right at their front door. They didn't even really know we were coming. There was tears, there was snot. It was the best feeling.
That's the best kind of tears, are the snotty ones, right? Is that what it is?
So good. It was so good. You know, and we brought people along on the journey. So every time we went, we were live on TikTok, and people were watching where their money, their donations were going, and how they were, you know, affecting these families that were struggling and not even sure that they could provide any gifts or pay their heating bill or whatever the case may be. And so it was the best thing in the world. And so that's how it began.
So you started off with the intention of 3 families that you were going to work with. Think about the power of this. You start with the intention of 3 families that you want to work with. It's an idea that you come up with. You want to be able to turn maybe some of those negative thoughts into something positive. I love that, right? Because you want to be able to repurpose that. We talk about that on the podcast all the time, of taking some of our thoughts that we may have and just turning them. It doesn't have to be unicorns and rainbows all the time, but it can be just a little bit of a change of a lens or a change of a way of thinking, just slightly enough to be able to give back to others, to invest in you or whatever. So you started off with an idea of 3, and you said you helped how many for that first holiday
season? We ended up helping 15 across 15 the country.
Families. That's insane. That's insane. And it all started crazy because you had the idea, and then you reached out to some people and you said, hey, you want to help me? You want to let's get on board with this. Let's try to be able to get this thing moving. And now, if you think about it, it's growing into something that's like, wow. I mean, did you ever think that it would be like where it is right now, where you just had the voting of that last the Cheer Choice Awards? It 60,000 votes or 70,000 votes?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And that's the best part, I think. You know, shortly after that Christmas, that first Christmas campaign, which was called the Spread the Cheer 2020, we decided, you know, I had people who had helped as volunteers across the country, and they were like, we love this. We want to be involved still. So we formed a board. I turned it into a 501c3, and it was literally just that easy. Like, it was just so organic and so natural, and it just fit so well that it was a no-brainer. And so my board is made up of, like I said, Chief Nitro. He's my vice president on the board. Gretchen Miller, who was like a huge help from the beginning. She was actually going through a rough spot too in her life. And so I think it came to her just right at the perfect moment too. She jumped on as secretary. Brandon, the entertainer, called me shortly after and said, I heard about this. I love what you guys did. I love what you're doing. I want to be involved. I said, okay. And so he jumped on. Originally, he was the creator liaison. His
fancy title.
He came up with that himself. But we've changed it now. He's the director of communications.
Nice.
We have Scordo, which everyone I feel like knows Scordo to some degree.
Yes,
Scordo
exactly.
is a master and our, intellectual, just critical thinker on the board, which is so helpful. And he is our director of philanthropy. We have Kieran Samkana on TikTok, I believe. She helps coordinate all of our volunteers and bring in donations, all of that good stuff. And then we have Michelle Simons, who is our treasurer. So
yep, we
are stocked full as our board. And since the start, we've had, we've done first Christmas, we had our Hop to Hope campaign for Easter. We've helped a few families in between that have come to us, and then we just had another Christmas campaign, which was massive. We helped almost 40 families.
Wow.
Yeah. So
holy smokes.
Yeah, it is increased in size astronomically. And, we could do even more if we had the backing and the donations. So,
okay. So if before we get into the Hop to Hope and those kind of things, one of the couple things that you just said a minute ago about Gretchen and yourself was, and I'm just taking more so the mindset of where we're at with it for people that are in a place where maybe they're not feeling up to par, or they're down in the dumps. Maybe they're going through, like you said, a divorce, or maybe there's something going on where it just really kind of weighs on you and it's heavy. These are great. This is great stories, especially even with Gretchen, where you were talking about where if people are going through something, and sometimes when you said the timing was right for this, right? The timing was right to be able to just kind of walk into it. But the problem is that people don't necessarily open their eyes to it a lot of times. It may be flashed right in front of you. And we talk about it on the podcast all the time about making sure that you're opening your eyes to look at what's going on around you, because you never know what's going to be able to be flashed in front of you to be able to do good and be able to give back and do those kind of things, because we're in this clouded area of darkness, or we're just kind of like in this depressed mode of I don't really know, life is this or anything like that. So what I love about it is that your story itself is you started off in a place that was kind of dark at that moment in time, and then you brought some light to it. Gretchen, great timing for that. Chief Nitro's fantastic, by the way. I love that guy.
I don't even know. Him and his family have been through some of the most intense times, and he has never backed down from supporting this cause. He has never, he took like a week off through all of the madness.
Yeah.
And he was right back at it, just trying to help other people, which is exactly the type of people that I would always want on my board. And
you need those types, right? You need those types that are just willing to do whatever it takes to be able to go out and make something happen for such a good cause. I think you've got, just listening to some of the names of the people that I know on that board, I'm like, you got the rock star staff. Come on, let's go.
They're amazing. And I honestly, we would not be here without, it takes a team, as they say, and there's no me in this. This is us for sure. So
if people want to get involved, so if they're like sitting at home, or they're listening to the podcast, or they're watching the video, and they say to themselves, okay, I'm feeling kind of like that too. I want to do something good. I want to be able to give back. I want to do whatever. And I know that we talked about earlier, you could do donations through Spreadthecheerusa.org, or what are other ways that they could actually do something to be able to give back and feel good about themselves, utilizing your organization and where we're at with it? What do you recommend for people?
Yeah. So, right now, our Hop to Hope campaign is kicking off today even. And Hop to Hope is our campaign that we go and we surprise families in person for Easter. We feel that every kid, should receive some sort of an Easter basket or some sort of, some sort of surprise. And we help the Easter Bunny out. And if people know of a family that is in need anywhere across the country, or if they themselves are in need, they can always go through that campaign on our website and nominate someone or themselves. Or if they don't fit under that category, they can also volunteer. And you can actually go surprise a family in person, and you can be part of the cause. And, that I've had so many people who have volunteered, and they're usually all creators on TikTok,
Right.
or fans of creators, or their kids. It's such an experience to, like for my kids, we're very fortunate, and to take my kids to a family, to see kids who are just thankful to be able to have, just the smallest amount of things in their lives when they didn't think they would have, that is just so eye-opening and such a great experience as a volunteer. It kind of just puts everything back into perspective.
Sure
so
does.
When you volunteer, you go through the whole process of, you shop for the family. It's very personalized. You put the baskets together, or you wrap the gifts, and then you go and you surprise them in person. So we're always looking for volunteers for that, or to help with events. We have a lot of events coming up and going on.
And do you have sign up spots on spreadthecheerusa.org that they can just go to and follow that link and get there by using that?
Yes. So if you go to spreadthecheerusa.org, there's a volunteer link that's always up, always in existence. And then you can also, when we have particular events, you can volunteer specifically for those events as well.
I love what you just said a minute ago, because it's something that I started my son when he was so young, and I would volunteer once a month to go work at, whether it was elderly homes or I'd go work at veterans homes, or those kind of things. And I would always go to do cleanups, and we would just do all kinds of volunteering. And I would always take my son with me, because even if he didn't want to, and he gave me the whole, the teenage or even the toddler of, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I want to play on my Xbox and I want to do whatever. I'm like, come on, let's go and spend some time together. But also, I love what you said, because I'm fortunate enough to be able to live the way that I do in the place that I live. When you go experience stuff like that, and you see people that are in need that you can do something for and give back to, we're raising a generation of kids that I don't necessarily know see a lot of that. And I think that it's eye-opening, and it can also inspire, hopefully, our next generation to follow in suit with what you're doing or what I'm doing, or those kind of things, where we're giving back and we're just taking care of other individuals and investing in them. And that all comes back to us by investing in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's really positive for kids to see that, because I think, in today's generation, there's a lot of, a lot of people are, well off, or, doing fairly well, but they don't ever cross over. There's very little of that from even parents of our generation, that, their kids, they're just, I think it's good. So if anyone ever wants to volunteer, we're always accepting anyone to come volunteer and help out.
Awesome. Yeah. So I've got it on the video feed right now on spreadthecheerusa.org. And of course, when this goes up on YouTube and everything else, just go and click on that link, or type that in your browser and then go to it, because it's well laid out. And I know anytime I actually volunteered myself to be able to become a volunteer in the main area, because, we always need something to be able to give back. And I know that for me, I'm sure a little bit, Danielle, whenever I would do the avatars, a lot of my listeners and a lot of the people that I do, I draw these little caricatures of people.
I love mine.
and it all started, to be honest with you, when I was in the middle of the pandemic. I literally lost my job, and I was sitting down, and I'd done art way back in the day. And, I used to do like graffiti and tagging with spray paints and all kinds of other bad stuff when I was a kid. You know what I mean?
Cool,
but,
yeah, but that's cool.
So then I got an iPad, and I said, let me just start working on this stuff, right? Because I needed that creative outlet. And then I started using it for good, right? So I would draw an avatar, and then somebody would pay me the money for the avatar. And then I take that money and give it back to food service people, veterans homes, homeless shelters, anything that I can do to raise the money to be able to give back to the community. And right now, just tooting my own horn here, which is a great thing, right? But we
it is.
But we the last check that we had, that I looked into how much money we've given back to whatever it is, we were up to $19,000 since the start of the pandemic.
Dang,
of where I'm at, just for me, just me and some avatars. And
that's so fun. See, that's so fun. And then you take something like that, and people who are on the same mission to spread cheer and do good, and we team up.
Yes.
Think of the impact that we could have.
And
that's
agree.
what it's all about. A lot of these, nonprofits are either massive to the point where you have no idea really what's happening to your donations,
right,
where that money's going. But But the great thing about social media and what you're doing and what I'm doing and what we're doing is that, you're taking people on a journey to see what's happening and how you're changing lives. And that makes people want to help people too. And so if we could all just team up, and not segregate, that's how you really make a difference in the world.
I love it. All right. So I'm going to put up on the screen down below here real quick. I just want to be able to pop this up real quick. So you get these couple things. Oh, actually, the next one I got right up here is the Cheer Choice Awards and the Hop to Hope. So these are two things that Danielle, in her world, as she's extremely busy. I mean, you own your own business. You got your own stuff going on. You're a mom of two kids, right? Two kids?
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Little ones that require lots of things, right? So basically you're buried in all this stuff, but then you've got these big events coming up here. Tell us a little bit about the Cheer Choice Awards and then maybe the Hop to Hope a little bit to be able to fill my listeners in on what you're doing and some of the big things that you're working on.
Okay. So real quick, the Cheer Choice Awards was just a concept that I had come up with back before summer of last year. I was trying to implement it for an event we had over the summer, but it was just, I wanted to kind of brew and just figure out how it could really be very successful. And so we decided, with collaboration from a couple of other creators who had promoted and produced the Vegas Invasion, which was a massive event, social media, basically TikTok based event that happened last April. They pretty much handed the reins over to us and said, here, you take this event and we'll, Chief Nitro and Time Out with Josh said, we'll help you, we'll back you, and let's do something. And so I said, you know what, let's take this idea of the Cheer Choice Awards and let's have it be in Las Vegas every year. And so what the Cheer Choice Awards are is it's a way to honor positive creators who are making a difference on social media. And to kind of honor people like you, Shane, who are just behind the scenes doing good work quietly and just, asking people to help them and doing amazing things. And so we have 16 different categories. The event is happening at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, April 8th and 9th. It's an incredible event. The MGM has been amazing working with us. It's a beautiful, beautiful hotel. The event itself is going to be absolutely incredible. We've had, just the most amazing creators on this platform reach out to get involved. We have performances by like Brent Morgan. Sarah Hester Ross is a local singer, comedian, and social media creator. She's amazing. We have Vincent Oshana, who is a comedian out of LA. They're all performing. We may even have some additional surprise performers that haven't even been released yet.
Oh, man.
And just like 15 different creators who are presenting just really positive, wholesome, real individuals. And so on April 9th, we are going to be, honoring a lot of creators who are making a difference on social media.
I think, what's funny? What I love about this, Daniel, I didn't mean to interrupt, but what I love about it is this. I love the fact that a lot of times, let's just be honest, social media catches a bad rap, right? It catches a bad rap. It's all about, whether it's toxic conversations or, world events or fake news and whatever else you got going on that's out there across the board, right? What I love about it is that you're celebrating in people that are doing good through the use of social media and giving back and doing what they got to do, or they're inspiring or they're motivating or whatever it is across the board. When I looked through the list of all those people I was like, oh my goodness, like these are some amazing individuals. And I love the fact that you've turned something that could actually maybe start to change people's opinion a little bit. There are some of us that are actually doing a lot of really good things with our social media platforms, followings, whatever you want to call them, supporters or whatever across the board. And I love the fact that we can celebrate in that a little bit. And this is a great way to be able to do so,
Yeah, and exactly. So it's all based on the people's votes and and who the people have nominated. So the process for the Cheer Choice Awards is it's nominated this year anyway. It was nominated by the people. They were allowed to nominate people in 16 different categories. It was narrowed down. We got so many nominees. It was impossible for us to narrow it down ourselves. So we went ahead and we did have nominees vote amongst themselves to try to narrow it down, but we ended up having so many that we just put the vote back out to the people. And so right now, voting just ended last night. We had almost 60,000 people vote for everybody. It's absolutely insane. We weren't really prepared.
And each person only gets to vote once, right? Like each person only gets to vote one time. Yes. That's 60,000 people.
Yeah, almost 60,000 people voted. So we're working with a company and Scordo and everyone. We're trying to go through and just make sure everything is legitimate and fair. Narrowing it down, we should have the top 5 in each category announced this week.
That's awesome.
And up on our website. And so people can actually attend. I mean, this is an event that's open to the public. And the best part about this whole thing is that 100% of all proceeds will go right back to Spread the Cheer USA. So everyone that's involved is not getting paid. There's not a dime that is going into anyone's pocket. All of our presenters and performers are volunteering their time. So that's the best part. And that's
amazing.
Why this event is so incredible. So
you don't find a lot of that these days, Danielle,
no.
To be honest with you. You don't find like even like I've been to events and I've been to different stuff around the country and I've been, different places. And there's always that feeling that somebody's making a lot of profits off of certain things that are there, right? Versus just going towards whatever it is. So I love the fact that when you open up spreadthecheerusa.org, the first, like right on the front page, it says 100% goes into the program, goes into where we're looking at all those things. And I think that's amazing, especially if like nobody's taken, I don't know, that's admirable. That really is, because it's rare.
Yeah. We don't get paychecks. We don't take anyone's donations for ourselves. I mean, eventually, potentially, because this is a full-time job, that could change. But like right now, our goal is to put 100% of the donations always back into helping families.
I mean, think about it. When you first started it, and your idea was 3 families, and then it was 15 families that you actually helped, right? You said 15 or 14, or whatever it was the first year. Yeah, 15, now you've got this event coming up in Vegas that you had 60,000 people that just went in and voted for their favorite creators. They did whatever. And I mean, it's growing exponentially. So eventually I would assume, and I would recommend that if you're working full time on it, Danielle, you need to, you're worthy of that, right? Because you're putting a lot of work into it.
That's what people tell me. But, I just feel so lucky and fortunate that it's not like I need it. And if I were to, quit my other jobs or, put aside my other jobs, and make this a full-time career, then obviously things might have to change. But for now, I'm content with everything how it is.
Well, it sounds like the show's going to be incredible and amazing. And you know what? I know that it's coming just from me to you, but I'm super proud to even be a friend of somebody that's doing a lot of the things that you're doing. So you should be super proud of yourself. And I know that for me to be able to watch from an outside perspective, it inspires me to keep going on my own way, and then also through whatever you're doing and how you're working with it. So you should be proud of all the work that you're doing with that. That's pretty amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of work, but it is so worth it. It's not even, it gets stressful at times, but it's just so valuable. And just, the whole thing inspires me every day to just keep going and keep doing more. So
it's a labor of love, right? It's a labor of love.
It is.
Yep. I love that. All right. So tell me a little bit more about, so here's the Cheer Choice Awards. It's coming up in April. If anybody does want tickets on the video feed down at the bottom, I did say tickets to the Cheer Choice Awards are on sale until March 29th. And then the event is April 8th and 9th, correct?
Yeah. So April 8th, we're throwing a laid back pool party, just a casual thing for creators to come. And this is all platforms too. It's not just TikTok, it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, Twitter,
Yeah.
So there's people from everywhere attending. And so April 8th, just an excuse to go hang out by the pool all day. And then April 9th is the actual Cheer Choice Awards event. And, you can get your tickets. They're very affordable. They're $65 for that. And then $15 if you want to attend the pool party. And like I said, it's even, you could probably even write it off. I would imagine it's tax.
How much did you say the tickets were? How much?
$65.
Okay, all right. Let me tell you something. I've been to Vegas before, and there's no events that are $65. To be honest with you, you're paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for anything to be able to do anything. So it's affordable. You can get a ticket. You can go enjoy Vegas. You can go to a great show for a great cause. Meet some great people. It's a win-win situation.
The networking alone, you'd be silly not to attend if you're on social media and wanting to, grow your accounts or get involved with other things. You'd be silly not to attend. And so I think, $65 and the MGM Grand has hooked us up with just an absolutely incredible deal on hotel rooms. Those are only available through March 15th. So if
good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah, they're like more than 50% off, and that's unheard of at the MGM. So, I think everyone should attend. Everyone should just come.
Yeah. So if you're around the area, or if you want a place to go to meet some really inspiring, pretty amazing people, including Danielle and everybody else, just you know what I mean. Get on a plane, go to Vegas, get hooked up at the MGM Grand. Let's go. It's a party. Let's make it happen.
So fun. Make it a vacation. Just come relax. They have a great spa at the MGM. It's just absolutely you can just make it a whole thing, And
I love it.
Yeah. So definitely, we would love to have everyone there.
All right. And so you said a little bit earlier, you said the Hop to Hope started today, right? Started today.
I believe, if I'm not incorrect, there's a lot of dates, but I'm pretty sure nominations open tonight.
And the nominations are for families that are in need, that you want to nominate that family to get the help that they need, right?
Yes. And those go through March 10th. So not to confuse everybody, but they should open tonight, go through March 10th. You can nominate a family that anyone in the U.S., even in Hawaii, Alaska, whatever. We have volunteers all over the country to assist us. And those run through March 10th. And then you can also nominate yourself. So if the process for that is basically you fill out this form. You have to upload a video, just kind of saying your name and what your story is and why you need help. And then we go through all of those nominees and we pick as many as our donations allow. So.
All right. So the nomination through the 10th, and then Hop to Hope. Tell me a little bit so the concept of that is we're going to help them, right? We're going to basically take whatever it is. And how many families are you looking to assist or anything like that? Like, is there a limit, or is there how does that work? We
will take as many nominations as we can. We go through all of them personally as a board, and we watch all the videos. And, like I said, we need donations. So the more donations we get, the more families we can help. So we don't always, we try to have goals for how many families we can help, but a lot of the time, we'll get a large last minute donation, and that it doubles the amount of families we can help. So if anyone out there has, connections with anyone who, helps nonprofits, corporations who match donations, anything of that nature, we are always looking for backers and for support.
So donations is the big way we can help out right now. So
yes.
Okay.
Yes, for
and
sure.
So they can go right here, right, to be able to hop in there to donate there, right? Spreadthecheerusa.org.
There's a donate button right at the top of that website. It goes right through PayPal. We are a verified nonprofit on PayPal. So they can go, and your donations are always 100% tax deductible.
Right. That's awesome.
And so Hop to Hope, we're going to, surprise as many families across the U.S. as we can. We help them with everything, obviously, getting Easter baskets and little candies and stuff for their kids.
It's the little things. It's the little things that a lot of people miss out on when they're in bad situations.
It is. It's those things that you say, we can't afford this right now. We can't do it. So unfortunately, there's not going to be an Easter bunny showing up at your house. So,
right.
But not only that, but we also, supply dinner and food, gift cards, whatever they need to make sure that they have a holiday dinner, or help paying utility bills or rent or whatever the case may be. So depending on, what that family needs is how we help them, and their submission or, nomination is what we base that on.
So if anybody's listening to this podcast right now, and if you're not inspired already to know, think about all the things that she's talking about. that she's be able to give back to families, take care of other individuals, do things that is a spread, like just as the title says, spread the cheer, right? Go out there and do whatever it takes. If we're in a situation where we're able to, where we can actually make donations or we can volunteer, we can be whatever it is. Again, the website is spreadthecheerusa.org. Go visit this page, check it out, volunteer in any way that you can, whether it's financially, whether it's you going out in your communities to be able to do so. Danielle's amazing to be able to connect with, to be able to have this, even if you go onto TikTok, just to be able to go in and do a little floor talk if you want to be able to have a conversation, play some games, some Monopoly, whatever else you want to. I don't even know what.
Yeah, it's all fun in my social media world, on my personal page. It's all about spreading cheer and positive vibes and fun and craziness.
So let me ask you a question though. So after all this stuff is done, now your kids are 10 and 4. You told me earlier, right? Young, yes. Right? So have they expressed to you any thoughts around what you're doing? All this stuff, are they at the age yet where they can understand it, or are they like? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
My son just tells me to get off the computer a lot. My daughter loves it. She loves going to help. We flew to Florida all together last Easter, and we drove an hour and a half from Orlando to the family's home and surprised them in person with. They had like 6 kids. Their home was in foreclosure.
Wow.
It was a mess, and a couple of them were adopted, and good family, just struggling, just in a position that they never intended to be. So my kids came with me for that. My son was 3 at that point, so he had really, I don't even know if he remembers at this point, but my daughter loved it. And
so it's not going to go away. He's still going to tell you, get off the computer, man. Like, seriously, what are you doing all the time? You're like, wait a second.
They've poked their head in twice already. Like, what are you doing?
I've seen you do the side wave of, oh, go away. What are you doing?
Mom life, right?
No, I love it. And the thing about it is that, I mean, the as we're talking and as we're having this conversation, Danielle, it's interesting when I think about the fact that a lot of people can use these platforms and use social media and use connections and use all this stuff in general for such good things. And I really wish that we had a swarm of people that would get together just to be able to utilize it in the right way, to be able to do things that are good for people, whether they're less fortunate or people just in need or anything like that, to be able to give back, to take down all the barriers that we have that are going on and just have kindness just because, you know what I mean? Like, give to people and love people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if you thought about, like, let's say even 1,000 creators, right, who focus on, making a living of their own, or bringing in gifts of their own, like having those battles, or just making content that maybe is, positive and good, but they can do so much more by just simply adjusting what they're doing, and actually could exponentially make a huge impact. Like, if we really were to just all come together and change how we're doing things just ever so slightly, just a slight different mindset of selflessness, the impact would be astronomical.
I agree. It doesn't take much.
That's what we're trying to do.
It doesn't take much. Kindness is free. Kindness is free, right?
Minimal efforts to change someone's day.
I love it. Danielle, listen, I told all my listeners that you were going to be somebody that inspires me. And I know that I'm going to get all kinds of messages, and I'm going to get emails, and I'm going to get text messages going. She was great. So here's the one thing I want to do. I want to be able to give everybody an opportunity, if they want to be able to connect with you. I know I popped it up a couple times on TikTok or Instagram. If people want to be able to reach out to you or find out more about you, or just connect with you in a way, if they're inspired by what you're doing, what's some ways that they might be able to connect with you, if you can tell my listeners?
So I am always available on Instagram. If you want to send me a DM, I think it's floating down there right now. But also, you can send me an email. It's Danielle at spreadthecheerusa.org. You can email me directly if you want to get involved, if you have an idea to bring in donations, you just want to reach out because you need someone to talk to. I'm available for all of that. So
And I'll put the spreadthecheerusa.org. I'll put down all the information in the body of the podcast itself, guys. So if you missed it or you didn't have a chance to write it down, I've got my pen going right now like I always do because I write everything down. But if you missed anything, I'll post it right in the feed of the podcast itself. So that way you can just click on the link and go to it. I'll put her email address in there too if you want to be able to reach out to her. I think she's a great resource. I know that her and I have grown fast friends just in a short amount of time. I mean, to be honest with you, I just pop in and say, hello, how you doing? And I'm just inspired by what her and Chief Nitro and Scordo and all these, Brandon and all these folks are all doing to keep things moving forward. And if I can help in any way, you know, I'll be definitely jumping in to be able to help out the best I can.
We should definitely look at teaming up and doing some sort of a campaign, maybe for one of these holidays.
I love
Mother's Day, Father's Day, Veterans Day. I don't know, but something.
I love it. And I love the Veterans Day theme also because I'm a veteran and I know Chief Nitro's a veteran and we got some of those ties back to it too. Might be able to really do something pretty special for some people. So we'll connect on that one. But Danielle, I truly appreciate you coming on to my podcast here today and sharing some of the really, really great things that you're doing. And I know that if anybody on listening to the podcast right now is inspired, let me know, talk to me a little bit about it and whatever direction we can lead you into, whether it's through Spread the Cheer or even through some of the things that I'm working with and the volunteering that I'm doing as well. If we can all get together, like we said earlier, and we can make a big, big positive change in the world, let's go ahead and do that. Like, seriously, let's stop hiding behind, tablets and screens and whatever else. Let's go out and just do something nice for somebody and be kind and make a difference in the world. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you do it with or how you do it, as long as you do something. So
exactly. All right, Danielle. So I really appreciate you being on the podcast, and like I said, be proud of everything you're doing because I know from afar, I'm super proud of everything you guys are doing. It's amazing from a bird's eye view, just seeing all the stuff you got going on, and I see the sky's the limit for you guys, and it's just going to keep on going. So thank you so much for being here.
So thank you so much for having me, Shane. I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, we'll talk soon.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Please do us a favor and leave feedback and a 5-star rating on whatever platform that you use.